now I'm sure. This month, Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're having a great and wonderful day. And we're going to get into some crazy topics here today. So I'm going to go not necessarily in order of all the topics that I would be going to, all right? Because most of the topics will be specifically kind of organized, but I'll put it this way. The stream could last for an hour and a half, 2 hours, give or take, or what I'm going to be doing. But that being said, I'm probably going to be chatting a little bit, give it up to the 30-40 mark, just because of the fact that, well, there's not anybody watching, and I don't really want to be talking to anybody besides, trying to get out the news. But this is going to be a recap, and then I am not going to be able to get the transgender type stuff or gender transformation stuff out of the way in time. I haven't had enough time to really contact the Epoch or whatever, so I will be moving that to next week. I'm going to try to get the communications done from them, so that way everything is all set and good there. And maybe I'll be able to get a guest. I don't know. I haven't been able to get a guest during over the Christmas, so that's another thing. So I think my plan is to do something at some point next week, possibly Friday of next week, and have it about 4 days after New Year's. This has been kind of an interesting week, so can't really do too much. But yeah, we are doing the streams. I'll try to do these streams a little bit more often, but a lot of these streams tend up to have to be more along the lines of catch-up streams, because I'm still trying to figure out on what kind of streams I kind of want in order to keep up the streaming things, and I haven't really found that idea yet. I've been wanting to do more of the particular streams for Covecasts, which I haven't been able to do. To be fair, I haven't been using the sites to try to get that set up. I'd rather have streams that are particularly for streams with people that I kind of know first. Don't really like doing random streams with random people. It kind of doesn't really feel right to do the streams with random people, but this is stuff that I don't mind doing. Now, we may go over a few things here with the great Nick Corcada himself, but we'll see, right? There's a lot of crazy stuff happening, and I think it'd be a good idea to probably explore it. Now, for intents and purposes, my friends, there is a Discord that I have on here, which I think I could give you guys a link to. I don't know if this will be of service or not. I'm going to do the edit link here. I'm going to do the no limit, expire never, general link. And I don't think I could post this in here the way I want it to. Where's this? Get rid of this. What is this here? And I'll just put that there. The Discord is mostly there for me to keep you guys up to date with stuff. And I'm trying not to advertise it too much or kind of be annoying, because that's not the case that I want to be. I don't necessarily want to be annoying with the Discord, or particularly when advertising it. But the only reason why I'm kind of pushing it is just because I want to be able to talk to people that are not part of my messages. Because I kind of, at some point, I actually do want to start not using the communities tab so much on the on my YouTube. I would much rather like to use, the non-communities tab, and use the Discord, because this is kind of a little bit better. Especially since when I get taken off for whatever that reason is, I can contact people through the Discord instead, and this is something that that I would like to have and do, just due to the fact that it's easier to contact people through there. I don't know what I want to do with the Gilded, because the Gilded is an interesting place. So, but that's another place too. I'm not quite sure which one I want to use. I just think that Discord is a little bit easier because I think more people have Discord than some others. So there's also that. But join if you so desire. I'm not gonna have anybody force you to join. I just would like people in there, mostly for kind communication's sake. They let you guys know when I get when I do stuff like that. And if I get enough people in there, I'll host stuff that will be more entertaining. But as of right now, there's like 1-2 people in there, and I kind of don't want to worry about it. And I'm not going to have an set about bots in there either. Mostly due to the fact that I don't really think it needs it. It's just mostly going to be a server for Cole and chill stuff. I don't think I need a server that's too crazy. In the Discord, we also have stuff that I would like to say for everybody. Articles for the show. Now, I did remember what I did say that I wanted articles and stuff like that that people would like to have. I think I've done majority of them. The one person that keeps on posting, I try to go into a lot of these things that are going to go over, which is the great stuff. I'll probably do. What I'll probably do is that I'll probably go over some of the actual. Oh my! Well, we're gonna fix this problem. Yeah, we're gonna turn it on here and turn it on here because we are not dealing with that. Okay, I want to do that. We'll turn this off. Well, I guess we're going to keep on the tracker blocker. Because I don't want. Jesus Christ. Okay. So. So yeah, it's just going to be articles, and I'll probably do a stream of something like that where I'm going over crazy articles and crap like that. That is, weird stuff. Clown World. There is the moment. So, yeah, there's lots of stuff, interesting stuff in there. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do exactly for other events or whatever, because, it is what it is. But, yes, it will be quite interesting. Okay. So, what I'm probably going to go over through now is I'm going to go over a few things. Normally, I just didn't want to start the stream without a few people here. Mostly just due to the fact that when people join, I'm usually like halfway into the stream. And then people join and they have no idea where I started or where I became or where I was. So that's kind of the issue there. I think, I don't know, the videos don't have a very much of a popularity or a good response to me doing clips of the, I would say, a good clips of, of me going over the stuff. Or at least maybe I don't do it correctly, question mark. But I'll probably do something like that. I don't know if I would do the actual timestamps of my streams. If somebody wants to do timestamps of a certain part of the streams down in the comments down below, please feel free to do so. But I probably, but yeah, I'll probably have some other stuff. But I won't have that stuff up until probably next week, because I want to be able to have a little bit more time to get that stuff flowing out. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go and do some. We'll figure out what's going on in the world. So we have this from Nuance Bro, and we have this from Ashley St. Clair. Now, some of these people are hired from the Babylon Bee, stuff like that. So we're going to go over a few things. So it says, she says here that my Delta flight from Phoenix appears to be flying migrants who cross the border and are being shipped to New York. When I asked a Delta representative if this was the case, his response was that what does it matter? They're humans too. What is happening? My whole point on this is it's kind of like, it kind of does matter in the sense that if you're making migrants fly, what is the case may be. And I'm trying to understand what's going on here with flying Delta stuff and all that other crap. I just specifically do not want to fly in most of the scenarios. It seems like the flying in general is pretty toxic or pretty terrible. Ever since, like, COVID and that stuff broke out, we have had multiple times of people acting insane on flights. And, flights also, violating First Amendment rights and all that stuff. Like, the flights have been quite crazy as of late. And, not really been a fan. So, yeah, this was posted on December 18th. So this was at least 10 days ago. So there's that. So we're gonna see what actually has to say about the insanity that is going on with the illegal migrants.
I'm at the Phoenix airport right now. I'm waiting to board my flight to New York, to JFK, and it looks like we have a whole lot of migrants who are also boarding this flight that the U.S. taxpayers are paying for. This is what the U.S. taxpayers are paying for right here. Premium seats on Delta that they have people coming here. We're paying for this, shipping them out to New York City because guess what? Everywhere else is at capacity. So they have these sanctuary cities like New York that they're now shipping these migrants to that we're all paying for. I'm at the Phoenix airport.
Yeah, and I think we'll get later on to showing on to why the Democrats, the far left, are doing this type of stuff, right? We'll find out on why this is something that they're going to be doing consistently. We've known that they have been shipping migrants at least since 2021 to other cities or states, and this is not too terribly surprising here. It just seems this is happening more en masse than we seem to be realizing. So yeah, the migrant thing is going crazy. Now, if you guys think this is the same thing that we're going to be going over for the migrant stuff, then you're sadly mistaken. It is not with this. This is just one issue of the migrants where they're flying for free. We have this from Nuance Bro saying, just ran into a group of African migrants from Guyana heading to New York City. They had documents from Catholic Community Services of Southern Arizona Incorporated. I'm seeing migrants all over the place here at the airport. This is insane. Thank you to Current Revolt for filming, and thank you to St. Ashley for blowing this up yesterday. He goes on to say they're flying American by the way. In St. Clair, it was a Delta. Go away. I know my storage is full. Go away. Also, lol. My terrible on the spot French. LA paper. This is at Phoenix Airport. Look at this stupid note. Somebody trying to putting on this post. Ridiculous. Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of interesting that that people are trying to put all this stuff here. So we're gonna go over this video and we're gonna see exactly what is going on with these illegal migrants and them getting free plane rides for everyone.
Hey, can you record? Can you record? Excuse me. Which country?
French.
French?
Not speaking.
Oh, je parlais un petit peu français. Pays, qu'est-ce que pays?
Vous dites?
He's from
Vous
Guinea.
dites? Notre pays.
Quoi?
He's from Guinea.
Guinea. Okay, and you guys are going where? New York.
New York.
New York. Don't the paper. Can I see the paper? Les documents. Les documents dans this one. Can I see the paper? The paper that you have in the backpack.
Now, I know that I made a video about this yesterday about the whole situation where they're paying, at least New York is paying around 12 billion just to be able to house all these migrants. And we have where Kathy Hochul thought it's a good idea to do reparations for slavery for over breaking the 4.3 billion, which is estimated to be 153 billion to even do the whole thing. So it doesn't make any sense, at least financially. You don't have the ability to give the black people any type of reparations at all in New York, and you don't have any way to deal with the migrants, which are also costing you an insane amount of money. So this is a problem that New Yorkers are going to have to face, and New Yorkers are not very happy about the illegal migrant stuff. They haven't been for a while, and Chicago hasn't either. I don't think sanctuary cities are going to be long, because I think the people are getting literally fed up with the insanity that the sanctuary cities are
Can I
providing.
see the paper?
Moi, je comprends pas anglais.
Je suis la média.
Ah, vous êtes au média.
Oui, oui, oui.
Vous êtes journaliste.
Oui, oui, oui.
Ah, ok.
Can I see the? Can I see the? Merci. Can I see it? Thank you. Merci. C'est. Let's see. Can you come here? So, New York, and this is Catholic Community Services of Southern Arizona, and let's see. Merci, merci beaucoup.
Pas d'accord.
Merci.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
You said you are from
Media.
media.
Yes.
Which media?
I have a YouTube channel, Nuance Pro Media.
YouTube channel.
Nuance
Why
Pro.
is he recording us without our consent?
Well, this is a public area, so we do have, implicit consent because this is a public area. But yeah, we're just documenting the migrant crisis that's happening in the United States. All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, and this is an issue. Now, don't worry, we're going to get into more crazy stuff as well. We have this from Tony Ortez, Current Revolt. The migrants are also entering the women's restrooms and having to be escorted out. Yeah. So, this is an issue. It doesn't seem like they care too much about the women being in there. This is concerning in every way. This is the problem that we're having, right, folks? I wouldn't be surprised if women are end up getting raped because of all the stupid stuff that the far left is doing currently. Now we have something else that we probably should be going over here as well, where we skip to this young woman to where she was getting evicted from her home because she fatally shot a 14-year-old for entering her said home, and she did not know who this person was. This is something that you have to understand, that when you are entering somebody's home unannounced, and people are unaware and stuff like that, and even worse when it's at night, but again, I don't think time of day matters all too much. You suffer the consequences of, maybe losing your life. Because we all know that we don't want to be in an area or in a place to where we get killed because somebody's entering it. Well, this woman, rightfully so, defended herself. Because she didn't know who was going to enter her home, and it's not to sit there and wait to see what they do. It's to prevent what they might do, because you don't know how people are going to be, especially when they're entering your home. And normally, when people are entering your home, it's normally not a good thing.
Woman who shot and killed a teenager she says was breaking into her rental home told us today how the incident has changed her life. Police have not filed charges for the shooting, and they plan to submit the case for a grand jury review. Aaliyah Wallace talked exclusively with Fox 4's Sean Rabb, who joins us now live. Sean.
Leah Wallace bought a gun to protect herself and her family, she tells me, after a rash of break-ins in her apartment. Those happened while she and her family were not at home. But on December 14th, twice that day, while she was home with her kids, someone tried to get in.
Now, this makes it even more crazy, too, because it seems like the people of Democrats, or maybe even Republicans, too, don't know the actual demographic of Fort Worth, but it does seem, or the actual, I guess, the color of politics of Fort Worth, but it seems that they're not doing a very good job of showing exactly on how to, what's the word? Protecting their citizens, because if some woman is getting her house broken into multiple times a day and they're not doing anything, it's kind of wondering what is the public, what are these companies doing to protect the normal human, right? The person that is living in your home. It's really odd that this is an ongoing thing. Like, I'm not quite sure why they haven't done anything to prevent this from happening, but this woman is obviously scared and is afraid that she will be attacked, because this has been an ongoing thing. Because it's been happening without her being home. This time, it was different.
I was cleaning my living room, sweeping my floor, and I heard her window start going back up. So I went and I looked in the hallway, and I could see him standing at the window lifting it up, and I just shot.
Gunshots that killed 14-year-old Devin Baker at the bedroom window of Aaliyah Wallace's 8-year-old daughter early morning, December 14th.
It's bothering me that he was a kid.
The incident happened not long after police left Wallace's home after responding to her 911 call about someone trying to break into her duplex.
So I called him at 1:22 a.m. We talked for like 30 minutes. They did a report, took pictures of everything, and then they left.
I believe there were reports that you had been burglarized or attempted burglaries before?
Yes, I have like 3 or 4 police reports before this night.
So what has happened since this incident?
The apartment called and told me that I was not supposed to have a gun at all, even though I kept calling them and telling them somebody was breaking in. They told me I could not have a gun and that I have 30 days to vacate.
You're not allowed to have a gun, and this woman has been telling the apartment people that they need security, that they need something because people are breaking into her home when she's not actually there. Voice crack, I apologize. So, that being said, that's not good, and I think this person should have every right to have a gun, because obviously it's for her own safety. And I don't know about anybody else on this planet, but I think if you have a noticing that multiple people are breaking into your home and you don't have a weapon to defend yourself, you're going to feel pretty defenseless. You're going to feel that like you need to do something to defend yourself. And that's exactly what she is doing. She is defending herself, and she thought that having a gun would be the rightful thing. And this is the reason why I think a lot more people should have weapons on them, whatever it may be, specifically mostly a gun, because it's the best deterrent. But again, this is something that is used to protect yourself. And here's one thing that I want to make this very clear. This woman seemed to be very horrified and traumatized over the fact that she killed a kid. She has said so herself. And as every gun owner, and anybody for self-defense, where the far left would like to make it to where we just go gun murdering people just because we don't like them, is just not the case. Most people, especially myself, does not want to fire our weapon other than going for hunting or target practice. The only other time we would want to actually use our gun is to go hunting. That's it. And we don't use our gun against people willingly. We reluctantly want to. I think Kyle Rittenhouse is a perfect example of this, to where he didn't want to have to use his gun. He showed very gun restraint, or trigger restraint, trigger discipline, or as well, if you want to go with that. And we do not feel satisfaction, we do not feel glory, we do not feel happy about killing someone for defending ourselves. This is probably going to live with her for the rest of her life, and The only thing that would probably make it a little bit better for her in particular is that she was defending herself and she didn't know what to do. And this is something that people need to start realizing here, that self-defense is it's not a very fun thing. You're not wanting to use your gun in a way to obviously hurt people. and when you do end up having to use a gun, I would say that you're going to probably call police. They're going to go and do cleanup or what have you, and that's just it. And it's just not great. And most people do not want to shoot their gun at people. It's not a fun and great thing to do. It really isn't. And the far left are making everybody that owns a gun, everybody that uses self-defense, as villains and evil people when they're further from the truth.
And how does that make you feel?
Feel like I'm back at square one. I've been there for 6 years, so now I don't know what to do.
This case is going to the grand jury. It's a referral, as they call it, and they're going to let citizens decide. What do you want people to know about you, Aaliyah Wallace?
That I was only protecting my kids. I have 4 daughters. It's just me and my 4 daughters that stay there. I just was protecting my daughters.
How do you feel about what happened?
Devastated that he was 14. I hate that. I literally do, and I'm so sorry. But at that point, I had to think about my babies. I didn't know he was 14 when he was on the other side of that window. All I knew that somebody could come in here and hurt me or my kids. That's it.
So now Wallace lived in...
Yes, and she is absolutely right. When people enter your house, or when random people enter your house, you don't know on what they're going to do. And the far left want to say, why did you have to shoot him? Maybe you would have done it. Maybe you would have done this. Well, that's a lot of maybes, right? And the thing is, you can't justify or not allow that maybe to go through and think that you're not going to get attacked or hurt. It's stupid to think that you should wait and allow somebody to commit an act. The whole point of self-defense is to prevent that act from happening. Because what you're wanting to do is that you're wanting to put a person in a very dangerous or life or death situation immediately and then attack them. And then that's just stupid. You want to prevent that attack from happening. Because if you're going to want to wait for yourself to be attacked, you're asking for them to possibly be maimed, severely injured, and all these other horrible things that could happen. You're like, okay, so you get attacked, say it's a woman, and she gets raped. Well, guess what, left? You just allow the man to rape her because for your own type of logic, your own type of philosophy, you think that is okay. You have to wait for somebody to commit an act and then proceed to do it. Then defend yourself. Well, the person's probably already horribly traumatized, and the deed is already done by the time by that thing happens. So what you want to do is prevent that act from even beginning in the first place. So, do not show up where you're not wanted. Do not be in places where you should not have to be. And don't go attacking people or stealing from people when you have no ability, when you shouldn't have no right to do so. At some point, you have to realize that maybe committing a bad act is not the correct way to go. It is not the right thing to do. And this woman is being evicted, as I've said, where she was being evicted from her actual apartment, from her duplex, because she shot somebody that she self-defended herself. And I don't think this is going to go very well in court in terms of having her get evicted, because there is a castle doctrine in Texas, and I think it's going to go quite well to where the jury's going to say, like, well, this is a case closed. She defended herself, and she even said she didn't even know the person was 14 years old. She was just defending herself. Unless she gets to a far left jury, and then, because they don't think that defending yourself is anywhere correct, and that the kid should never have been shot because they are delusional and completely chaotic. So, it depends on what type of jury you get, and that's what I don't like about our system today. Our system is dependent currently on a group of insane people trying to decide your fate, and then normal, rational people are not on your jury. This is the reason why that I think every far leftist should probably be excluded from the jury, because they're always going to come with immense bias, and they're always going to do something that's going to be harmful to the citizen rather than actual beneficial to the citizen, and they'll defend the criminal rather than defending the citizen. English, hello, the citizen, because that's just the way they work.
Federally subsidized housing. We're seeking clarity on whether she can be evicted. She's concerned that if she is convicted, it would be difficult to find new housing for her and her 4 girls. We called the apartment complex today. The manager there told us to call the corporate office. We did so. The corporate office said, get your information from the local apartment complex. No answers for our questions today.
And to me, this is just how normal people just bloody operate, right? Like, this is just something that, this is just normal on how the far left works. It's not something that, that this is going to be an ongoing thing, right? Where the far left have to operate in the schemes of making things more worse for everyone else. Now, we're going to jump onto this. This is a bit more interesting of an article here because, yeah, but here's the thing that we have here from CBS News. We have Judge keeps Chris Christie off Maine's Republican primary ballot. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie's attempt to get on the Maine Republican presidential primary ballot failed Thursday after his campaign tried to recover from a surprising setback in the Super Tuesday state. Earlier this month, the Maine Secretary of State's office said that Christie's campaign fell short of the necessary number of certified signatures needed from Maine voters to qualify for the state's Republican presidential primary. His campaign appealed the decision, but a Maine Superior Court judge sided on Thursday with the Secretary of State's handling of the situation. We appreciate that the court upheld the integrity of Maine's well-established ballot access requirements, Maine Secretary of State Shannon Bellows said in a statement. Every candidate, including presidential candidates, must follow the law to qualify for the ballot. We are glad that the court recognized that Maine law is workable and fair to all. Earlier this month, Maine Director of Elections Haiti M. Peckham said in a letter that Christie's campaign had only turned in 844 of the minimum 2,000 certified signatures required to appear on the ballot. This man is obviously not wanted. He doesn't really want anything to do at all, and it's just, and it just seems nobody likes him, and that's understandable. Chris Christie is not a likable person. He is obviously a terrible person. He's part of the establishment, and just like Ron DeSantis and everybody else, they're not worth our time. Candidates faced a requirement of filing signatures with municipal clerks for clerk certification before submitting them to the Secretary of State's office. A Christie spokesperson responded at the time that the campaign had gathered 6,000 signatures, arguing it was simply a procedural issue with the way they received signatures and is under appeal. But the arguments put forward by Christie's campaign failed to change the stance in the main case. In a statement to CBS News Thursday following the ruling, a spokesperson for Christie's campaign said that we disagree with the court's decision and we are evaluating our options. According to the decision, the Maine Superior Court Justice Julia M. Lopez, Christie did not separate petition forms by town as instructed by the Secretary, or in the alternative, give himself sufficient time to bring those multi-town signature sheets to the relevant municipalities of, before the November 20 deadline. Christie still has the option to file as a right candidate in Maine. The deadline to do so is December 26, which that is about 2 days over, so we'll see on how that's going. The news is the latest of the tremendous trouble of the Christie campaign as he faces pressure to drop out of the race and help consolidate support around an alternative candidate to former President Donald Trump, the frontrunner in the GOP race. Christie's strategy has centered around going all in on the January 23 New Hampshire primary. His campaign has maintained he has path after the contest, but the struggles in Maine threaten to undercut that tone. So, yeah, it doesn't seem like he's going to be going anywhere for the president candidate. He's been trying for years, and he will continue to fail because nobody likes this man. Alright, so we're going to go with something a bit more funny, a bit more hilarious, a bit more interesting. We have the American Society of Magical Negroes got people feeling all kind of ways. Last week, the trailer for the upcoming film, The American Society of Magical Negroes, was released, and many black and white folks were confused about whom the film's audience is supposed to be. Many thought that the American Society of Magical Negroes was going to give a glimpse of black folks doing magic tricks and teleporting, a la Harry Potter. What folks saw instead was seemingly in a snippet of satire and a taste of a well-known literary and film trope that unfortunately didn't translate well to viewers online. For context, the Colby-directed film centers around a young man, Aaron, played by Justice Smith, who is recruited into a secret society of magical black Negroes, who dedicate their lives to a cause of utmost importance, making white people's lives easier so that black people will be safer. If this sounds a bit off, it's because the American Society of Magical Negroes leans heavily into the magical Negro story trope, which is defined as a black character whose sole purpose in any story or plot is to help white people achieve their fullest potential. And while the film on its surface seems to go in that direction, the disconnect for folks online seemed to hinge around the interracial romantic element presented. Some felt it alludes to the fact that the protagonist may not be bucking against the system solely because of any internal or communal loyalty or desire for change, but instead just to get the white passing girl, which doesn't do well, to subvert the trope in of itself or properly illustrate the genre, according to Twitter. From CC Adams, which, again, I don't know if we want to really go off of this person, but I digress, right? Here I thought the American Society of Magical Negroes was going to be smart, satirical social commentary about the magical Negro trope and black-white power dynamics in social settings. But no, it's an interracial rom-com. Here's the thing about this, right? I don't have a problem with interracial couples in the slightest. I think that's being a more uncommon thing. And I think the bigger thing here is interracial is that we've noticed, and I have noticed, that a lot of black women don't really like black people dating other races. They get quite angry about that type of thing. So it's kind of hilarious to see this. And and this is all to the black lady's fault, right? This is all to the black lady's fault. The reason why it's the black lady's fault is because the way that they act, their attitudes, are not really wanted in most of the dating culture. It's not just black people or black men in particular wanting to be with you. You are the least desired race out of all the other races. There's kind of a reason for that. Normally a lot of black women tend to be unhealthy, they tend to be overweight, they tend to have a very bad attitude, and that has a lot to correlate onto the issues that has. And CC Adams is proving this once again on how she does not like it to where it's an interracial rom-com. No. It has to be, you have to be dating only black women because, obviously that's just, the only thing that you can't do. Here I thought the American Society of Magical Negroes was going to be smart, satirical, and commentary, blah, 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 blah. Another added, just the trailer for the American Society of Magical Negroes have a movie about black people dedicated to making white people's lives easier, but then the main character falls in lust with a white woman. I keep seeing a lot of y'all need to read what Magical Negro means. Y'all don't get satire. I think what we get those things, that doesn't change the fact that the American Society of Magical Negroes doesn't look great based on the information given to us. See, a lot of things that I'm seeing here is that they don't like it when it's dating a white person. Or dating or what have you. I'm going to be perfectly honest. I am more interested into the white female, the Latinas, or the Asians, and I'm not really attracted to the black ones, mostly because they tend to be overweight, or they're, as I said before, their attitudes are relatively poor. Now, this does not mean all black women are like this. Obviously, this is not all of them. But what I'm saying is there is a majority and enough to be to where you just don't want to deal with them. A lot of guys just don't want headache. And unfortunately for this is doing exactly that. Even some obviously biased white folks got up in arms about the trailer, which doesn't really hold much weight considering so many of them lately seem determined to terrorize us in our own homes, especially in South Carolina. Trailer for American Society of Magical Negroes is finally here. Amazing that even in an anti-white propaganda film, the black protagonist's highest aspirations to win a white woman instead of one user. Again, I don't see this as an issue. This is not a problem. Shouldn't we be happy about interracial couples? Shouldn't we be happy that there is no divide and we can find somebody attracted to other people? I haven't really watched the movie, so I can't really judge on how the movie is or what that is. But what I am saying is, and I'm taking this from a complete point of view from not watching it, I think that we should be happy that we do not have something that pretty much goes over the fact that we should be happy that interracial couples is happening. That means that there's no racial divide. That means that there is more equality. That means there's more people understanding of other people's stuff and all that stuff. So I don't see to where this is an issue. In fact, I've seen quite a few black interracial couples where I never have a problem. Both one woman being with a white man and then a black man being with a white woman. More so the black man being with the white woman, but I digress. But again, this is just something that I don't find as an issue. I'm coming outside of this movie on the outside in, thinking about the actual movie in itself, where dating an interracial person or another person of another race is not an issue. I think it's actually better for the country in general because it shows that there's no racism, plain and simple. The only insanity would be to completely write the film off and said many who defended the traitor and added more context to why the Magical Negroes is an important story to tell. The American Society of Magical Negroes has tended to be satire, written and directed by a comedian actor. The very intent of satire is to garner this kind of reaction and play on people's own stupidity via exaggeration, etc. So I guess they already are doing the job. Yeah, that's fair enough. It seems they are already doing a pretty good job of, making people angry. For clarity, the American Society of Magical Negroes has a queer black lead and an Asian co-star, a supporting cast of legendary black actors, and was directed by a black person. This is just to weed out the uninformed and clickbaity takes I keep seeing at another. Will you be watching the American Society of Magical Negroes when it hits the theaters? I most likely will not be. I'm not really interested in movies and films like this, so that's why I have you. But again, I find it hilarious that people are crazy and going angry about an interracial couple. That's what I find interesting. But we have some more damning and crazy evidence and stuff news here. Of course, yeah, hello, good Mr. Coltrane. Nice to see you on the outro stuff. I'm going to try to do this a bit more often. I want to see what are we doing here. I just went through the migrants getting free plane rides by our great dictator Joe Biden himself. So there's that. That was a lot of great stuff. And Chrissy being removed from the ballot. So, but you did join up at a good time at least, because it seems that California is moving to explore every legal option to get Trump off of the 2024 ballot by December 28th. So, at this point, they can't even say it's not election interference, right? Because at this point, it's just that's exactly what this is. Like, you can't say otherwise. Colorado's doing it, and now California's doing it. It's obviously this is a huge ploy at this point in time. It's insane. But nice to see you here, guys. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. I want to do this more. In a letter on Wednesday, California Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kunkelek, I don't even know how to pronounce that last name, so I'm just going to do Eleni, called on California Secretary of State Shirley Weber to explore every legal option to remove former President Donald Trump from California's 2024 presidential primary ballot. Eleni, I think it's called Eleni, my apologies, specifically cited the Colorado Supreme Court's Tuesday decision, in which the state court ruled 4-3 that Trump is ineligible to be on the ballot. This is the actual letter here. So we'll probably go over it briefly. It says, Dear Secretary Weber, and this is also, I may believe this is one of the people that is not very fond of the trans people, or not necessarily not fond of the trans people, very protective of the trans people, I guess you could say. So, if I'm remembering correctly. Based on the Colorado Supreme Court's ruling in Anderson versus Griswold, I urge you to explore every legal option to remove former President Donald Trump from California's 2024 presidential primary ballot. I am prompted by the Colorado Supreme Court's recent ruling that former President Donald Trump is ineligible to appear on the state's ballot as a presidential candidate due to his role in inciting an insurrection in the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. This decision is about honoring the rule of law in our country and protecting the fundamental pillars of our democracy. Funny enough, because that's not very democratic, because you are removing a person to be able for the people to choose on who they want. That's not very democratic. And it's quite sad, because I think everybody should be able to have the choice to choose who they want. And I may believe the Republicans are also doing something very similar as well, in terms of removing Joe Biden from, I may believe, from 4 other states, And I would think honestly the Republicans are going to have the same issue here from Nick Rekieta that has said before. If anybody watches Nick Rekieta, you probably should do it. Or Rekieta Law is his actual YouTube and / Rumble channel, Rumble name. He pretty much went out and said that like they can't find a legal basis here for removing Donald Trump because because how can we say that the actual civil court or even the Supreme Court, I would probably say, would even allow this type of thing to even happen? Because you would have to say that the Supreme Court or whatever the Colorado Supreme Court has supremacy over the federal courts, and it doesn't seem to work that way. I'll probably get a clip for that later on because it's a pretty big deal on what they're doing here. It doesn't make any legal sense from what I hear from Rekieta Law that what they're doing is even remotely a good thing. Specifically, the Colorado Supreme Court and Anderson v. Griswold that Trump's insurrection disqualifies him under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to stand for presidential re-election. Because the candidate is so ineligible, the court ruled it would be a wrongful act for the Colorado Secretary of State to list him as a candidate on that state's presidential primary ballot. Furthermore, Colorado Supreme Court cites conservative Justice Neil Gorsuch to make their case, saying the following: as then Judge Gorsuch recognized in Hess and Hassan, it is state's legitimate interest in protecting the integrity and practical functioning of the political process that permits it to exclude from the ballot candidates who are constitutionally prohibited from assuming office. California must stand on the right side of history. California is obligated to determine if Trump is ineligible for the California ballot for the same reasons described in Anderson. The Colorado decision can be basis for a similar decision here in our state. The Constitution is clear. You must be 40 years old and must not be an insurrectionist. Well, the thing is that he wasn't really an insurrectionist because he never did an insurrection. He specifically said, do not go out and do this type of stuff, right? He basically said, don't go out and do this, and there were some bad actors. Now, Ray Epps is probably another person we should probably be looking towards for inciting an insurrection, and any of the FBI agents being posted there. Because that's something that we may want to consider, right? This is something here. They always go to say that Colorado is the first state to rule that Trump should not be on the ballot, with both Minnesota and Michigan courts dismissing similar lawsuits contesting Trump's eligibility to be on the lawsuit. Trump's team is expected to appeal the ruling. So, yeah, even in very far left Minnesota and Michigan, they're dismissing the similar case lawsuits. And I may believe something else also end up happening, too, that's not going well either. So, I think majority of these states are not going to be winning, if Colorado goes to the Supreme Court, they're going to have the same issues, I may believe, to have to deal with this, and I don't think Colorado is going to be able to get away with it at all. I think this is an attempt, a crazy attempt, but an attempt that's not going to go too well. Now we have this. Now this was a whole bout, which is the migrant issue. So, funny enough, I can go back and do a few things here. And this is with all the Delta stuff and, with the free flights that's happening. And then we have the nuance bro where, New York City is taking all this stuff from Arizona to New York City. And the migrants who are also entering the women's restrooms. That crazy stuff. Yeah, this is actually happening. Migrants are actually going into the women's restrooms. I wonder why they're actually going into there. Kind of interesting. I wonder what their actual main cause is to being in the actual restrooms for women. And so we have this stuff here, right, to where this all starts going full circle into this. We have several thousand migrants huddled together on the grassy incline between this border city's two international bridges Wednesday, part of a surge of asylum seekers that's overwhelmed the Border Patrol and local officials in recent days. Among the migrants were Yelis Fernandez, her partner Jose de Jesus Bustamante, I think I'm pronouncing these names correctly, I apologize if I am not, and their 18-month-old daughter Evelyn. The couple said it took Border Patrol agents 5 hours to process them, but that felt like hours longer in the cold, which was far chillier than they experienced in their native Venezuela. They had thin sweatshirts and were wrapped in silvery mylar blankets to keep them warm. And our clothes were wet from crossing the river, Fernandez said. Yet they considered themselves fortunate. Other asylum seekers at the Mission Border Hope Shelter had spent days waiting between the bridges to be processed by the Border Patrol, then taken to a detention center and finally released to the shelter. Earlier in the day, semi-trucks slowly lurched across the Camino Rio International Bridge, their brakes squeaking to a halt as traffic from Piedras Negras, Mexico, slowly made its way into Texas. Also, I apologize for anybody that I'm pronouncing these things wrong. I am not very good with Mexico or Mexican language or what have you. I am quite terrible, so I apologize in advance. The neighboring Union Pacific International Railroad Bridge was deserted. U.S. Customs and Border Protection suspended international railroad crossings in Eagle Pass and El Paso on Monday in an attempt to quell the smuggling of migrants through Mexico to the Texas border via train. From Saturday to Monday, nearly 10,000 migrants turned themselves into immigration authorities in Eagle Pass after crossing the Rio Grande, according to State Representative Eddie Morales, Jr. Doctor from D. Eagle Pass. I'm going to assume D is for Democrat, but could be wrong there. On Tuesday, as many as 5,000 migrants turned themselves in at the city of less than 30,000 people. Roughly the same number of asylum seekers were expected to cross into Eagle Pass on Wednesday. Fernando, a 29-year-old from Venezuela who declined to give his last name, spent 3 nights outside, sleeping on the ground. We weren't even given crackers, he said. Well, that kind of what happens when you illegally get into our country, right? Maybe you don't really deserve much of anything when you're illegally getting into our country. And by the way, I've seen you guys put your Venezuelan flag onto our country's soil. So, I'm sorry that you didn't get crackers for your illegally getting into my country, and then you guys also putting your Venezuelan flag onto my country. So, the feeling is mutual. Get the fuck out. U.S. Representative Tony Gonzalez, R. San Antonio, told reporters Wednesday that migrants were given bean and cheese tacos. As he spoke feet from the de facto holding area between the bridges, 2 men were carried up the embankment to receive medical treatment. In my opinion, I think beans and cheese tacos are too great for you. I love tacos. I'm a taco enthusiast. And let's just say, that's too good for them. Why don't we just give them marshmallows? That's a little bit better, right? The situation at the border is not sustainable, Gonzalez said. We are beyond a breaking point. We are already there. Migrants at the Mission Border Hope Shelter said there seemed to be no rhyme or reason for how Border Patrol agents were processing people, though they said families where children were given priority. Well, that kind of makes sense because the children don't deserve to suffer for the stupidity of their parents. But also, another thing, too, I've also seen some videos as well where the Border Patrol has been letting people in to our country. So, I don't know about that one, but it doesn't seem to be too great. Yeah. The Border Patrol separated Fernando and his wife, directing them to wait in Pacific lines for women and men. The Border Patrol eventually released his wife in Del Rio, but Fernando didn't have money to hire a driver to take them there. He didn't know how they would reunite. Del Rio, which also sits on the border, is 55 miles northwest of Eagle Pass. Fernando hoped that after finding his wife, they could get one of the state-sponsored charter buses to New York as part of Governor Greg Abbott's Operation Lone Star. Bustamante and Fernandez were waiting for a free charter bus to Denver. Other migrants said they had to pay $70 for shelter to transport them to San Antonio International Airport. 2 women who identified themselves as ride-hail drivers offered to shuttle migrants to the San Antonio Airport for no more than $50. CBP has not released official operation figures for November or for the first half of December, but from now things look on the ground, it appears that crossings will outpace those from December 2022, when the HTE Border Patrol apprehended 51,000 migrants into the Del Rio sector, which includes Eagle Pass. In recent years, the sector has come to rival traditional migration corridors, such as the Rio Grande Valley and El Paso. In September, Eagle Pass Mayor Rolando Salinas Jr. issued an emergency declaration after more than 4,000 migrants crossed into the city within a 2-day span. The declaration allowed the city to tap state and federal dollars. Salinas could not be reached for comment Wednesday. Aaron Richland Melnick, I'm going to assume that is how you pronounce that, policy director at the American Immigration Council, a Washington, D.C. based nonprofit and pro-immigration advocacy group, attributed this week's a mass crossing to the spread of information among migrants that U.S. authorities will soon close the border and that the CBP Nuangus app will shut down. Since January, migrants have used the government app to make appointments to meet with immigration officers to seek asylum. Yes, fortunately, these people are given free cell phones. $1,000 plus cell phones. I don't know about you, but I would like a free new cell phone. How about that new Samsung 11, the Galaxy 11 that's available? Yeah, government, can you please give me one of those? I love it. I see my cell phone is getting a little bit rusty and dusty, so a new, fresh one would be great. In other words, smugglers are capitalizing on Senate negotiations to tell migrants cross now. The U.S. Senate has yet to reach a border security deal that could potentially limit the number of migrants eligible for asylum at the border. The U.S. Embassy in Mexico on Tuesday took to social media to say that the CBP One app would continue to work in 2024. No, Haggis, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, so don't believe the smuggler's lies. Figure Villalobos had heard other migrants mentioning the possibility that the app would go out of service as a reason for leaving for the U.S. in recent weeks. But like many Venezuelans, Villalobos left months earlier out of desperation. He wants work and a chance for a better life. He said he was headed to San Antonio where he would take whatever opportunity came his way. Well, if you want an opportunity for a better life, I can understand that, and I think we should welcome immigrants, legal immigrants, into our country. But go the legal way. Do not come through the illegal way, because you don't really going to be treated the same. And, yeah. So, you may be saying this, but your guys' actions shows otherwise. And I'm going to have a horrible bias towards Venezuelans, because the Venezuelans are coming into my country and planting down their flags into my own country. So it doesn't seem like it's you guys want to come here for a better life. It seems like you want to come over here and take control over my country because you guys don't know how to take care of your own bloody country and let it into a dystopian hellhole. So that's the reason why you're going to go into other countries and ruin another country. Fix the country that you're in, you fools. Morales, a state lawmaker, attributed the increase in arrivals to Abbott's order this month to the Texas Department of Public Safety to inspect all commercial traffic entering Texas through the Del Rio and Eagle Pass ports of entry. That has brought northbound traffic to a standstill. DPS said it started inspecting semis and other commercial vehicles last Friday. That was done with the state leadership under the belief that they were not getting enough help from their counterparts in Mexico. Morales said, and I think now you're seeing the response, which is, look, we are working well with you all. If you don't think we are doing enough, this is what can happen. Morales suspects that Mexican immigration officials in the state of Coahuila have cut back their efforts to limit the flow of migrants to the border. He said the DPS inspections are hurting both countries and economies. Both 60% of the city of Eagle Pass operating revenue comes from bridge tolls, Morales said. Local officials don't expect illegal border crossings to slow in the coming days. Gonzalez, congressman, said federal immigration agents and Texas state troopers will be working overtime on Christmas. Yeah, it doesn't get much better, by the way. It still gets worse. Boston City Council passes measure to allow non-citizens to vote in local elections. Now, this is stuff that's going on, and I think we can clarify or know that the Democrats, the reason why they're doing this, they want the ability to have all these people come in and have these people vote for them so they can win the election. Which, again, we could say is another election interference if we can prove this to be correct, right? Because, again, this is not something they're trying to do willingly. They want these people to be able to vote illegally or, what have you, and be able to win the elections to stay in power. This is pretty damning. I get it, honestly. The city council on Wednesday took a step forward, making elections more inclusive by approving a measure that would allow immigrants to legally living in Boston to vote in local elections. But the home rule petition, which must be approved by the state legislature to take effect, still has a long way to go before it becomes reality. Yeah, which would have an impact on America and any of the people that want to vote for somebody different. So, yeah. The initiative seeks to allow immigrants who are not U.S. citizens but live and pay taxes in Boston to participate in municipal elections. The sponsors that say that immigrants with legal status constitute more than a quarter of Boston's population and pay on average of $2.3 billion in taxes annually. Voting is an inherent right that this country was founded on, said Councilor Kendra Lord on Wednesday's morning. Yes, I agree. To people that live here and are legally here, not by illegal matters, all right? And also, this is also going to open the gate because their next thing is, well, we can just have illegal people go become president. Even though we know in our own law, in our own constitution, that you have to be born here, right? You have to be born here in the United States to even remotely become president. This is the age of 35, and you have to be born here. And so I'm going to assume the next thing that the Democrats are going to want to do is that they're going to make illegal immigrants be able to become president. Because, what's going to stop them, right? I mean, what's their next goal? Councilor Gabriela Gigi Coletta voted in favor of the measure while acknowledging that there were concerns about the proposal, and that as a home rule petition that needs state house approval, it would likely die on Beacon Hill as to have other similar measures. That is if Boston Mayor Michelle Wu signs off on it to move over to the state legislature. This docket is certainly a starting point, there's no doubt about it, she said. Councilor Julia Majo noted that a sizable chunk of Boston's population is boxed out from participating in local elections. I want to make sure we are affirming all of us here in the city of Boston, she said. Councilor Michael Fleischerty said officials need to be mindful of legal concerns regarding non-citizens voting. Allowing such individuals to vote in local elections could lead to confusion and unintended consequences, including non-citizens mistakenly registering to vote or vote in federal or state elections, which could jeopardize their opportunity to become a citizen. For me, that's too great of a risk to take at this point, said Flaherty, who voted against it. So yeah, it doesn't seem like it's going to go too well here, maybe for this. But yeah, this is something that they've been wanting to do. They've been trying to get this stuff going now for a while, and yeah. We also have this, Taylor Henson, exclusive, inside makeshift migrant apprehension site in Eagle Pass, Texas. Thousands of illegal migrants have been sleeping here as they wait to be apprehended and processed. Some have been here for over 24 hours. In all my years of reporting, I've never seen anything like this. More to come. So yeah, we're going to go over a few things here of what's been going on. Maybe not through the full thing, but we're going to get the gist of what's going on here in Eagle Pass, Texas.
Right now, I am directly in the area where they are all waiting processing. You have over 1,000 migrants here. It's about, I would say, 5:30 a.m. in the morning. But let me take you through a quick little walkthrough real quick. As you can see, they're all wearing these silver blankets. It's pretty cold out here right now. And we're just going to walk directly in here and see what we can do here. Some of these people have been waiting, over 24 hours awaiting processing here in Texas. Just take a look around the sheer amount of people here. You easily have 1,000 people. Border Patrol is actually heading a few miles down and picking these migrants up down the street. Instead of making them walk, they're giving them rides into this little area while they're awaiting processing.
This is the thing, too, right? People are like, we should just let these people in or what have you. And yeah, let's look at their living conditions as current to what is happening. If they went down the legal path, all of these people, then they would realize that it's probably better to enter legally because you don't have to be living in these horrid conditions in the first place. And also the children wouldn't be getting trafficked, raped, and the women as well being trafficked and raped. So there's also that we wouldn't have to worry about, and they would probably be not getting trafficked and raped. But of course, these people's emotions lie elsewhere where it doesn't make any bloody sense at all. So of course, that this is not going too well. But of course, we have to understand that the Democrats don't care about these people. All they care about is staying in power, and they're using these people the same thing as they're using black people to stay in power and to give them empty promises that they're not going to keep.
We'll keep walking through here to kind of give you the idea of how many people are actually just confined in this one area. These are unprecedented numbers in the Del Rio sector. I personally have never seen anything like this. I mean, this line right here, these two lines are completely filled out, people sleeping everywhere under these blankets. You've got children, you've got a lot of single men. This is unlike anything I have ever seen before in my entire life. I mean, just do a pan over here real quick. Just the sheer amount of people in this one area is... I've never seen anything like this before.
It's not going to get better. And until people start seeing this, again, this is also another... this is also Joe Biden's border and all this stuff. This is insane here, right, guys? This is crazy. Like, can you... What is this, by the way? So who is doing the background checks? How do we know they aren't hardcore criminals? That exactly. And in fact, I may believe one of our senators or one of our peoples in Congress has actually done something like this. Has talked about this. And the answer to that question, Cole, is that nobody's actually doing the background checks. Because the people that are supposed to be doing the background checks are not actually doing them. And the kids that they've lost, like 30,000, 50,000 of those kids, or give or take, they don't even know. They're not even aware. They're not even doing their jobs. So that being said, is that we're not doing the background checks at all. They're just being let through, even though there's a whole bunch of them here. So the kids are getting lost into fucking like outer space or something because the people that are supposed to be tracking these kids and not making sure these kids are not being trafficked or whatever are not doing their jobs. So those kids are doomed, and nobody is actually doing their jobs to keep track of the actual illegal migrants or whatever. So yeah, we're going to have a lot of criminals coming into our country. We're going to have a lot of things. And again, as I said, the Venezuelan flag on the Texas soil or American soil is a huge red flag. That means they're not here for any good reason, right? They're not here for any good reason. Because if they were, they wouldn't be posting their flag onto our soil. No. It's more like they want to invade our country, which we have open borders. And honestly, if we had borders similar to, as messed up as it sounds, North Korea, we probably wouldn't be having a lot of problems now, would we? We would allow people to go in and out of like our own people, because we're not like a dictator in terms of why we would keep our own people from being in, but we would use the same principles as the North Korea border, which I think we should probably take stance of. Only the part with the North Korea border where it's really hard for people to get in. All right, that's what we should model that border system off of, not where we keep people. Where we keep people out, and not keep people in. As long as you keep the people out, that's fine. But again, there's going to be a lot of problems, and I think there's going to be so many issues coming up. This is insane. Like, what is this? What is this? Like, I don't know what to tell people about the stuff like this. When we see this is insanity here to me. This should not be happening, and it is. So we have this as well. This is still not over. Is that record 12,600 migrants encountered at border in 24 hours, as backlog for immigrants hearing breaks 3 million. America's border crisis is worsening with a record of 12,600 migrants encountered by customs and border protection officers in 24 hours Monday, according to Fox News. Pictures showed a sea of thousands of newly arrived migrants huddled in neat lines as they waited processing after illegally crossing into Eagle Pass, Texas. Many had walked across the Rio Grande River, which serves as a border between the U.S. and Mexico, with plans to seek asylum. Numbers have reached the highest record ever since the end of Title 42 measures in May. August saw more than 304,000 migrants attempted to gain entry to the U.S. September increased to 341,000, and October logged 310,000. Border resources are stretched so thin, road and rail crossings have been closed, so all available officers can be diverted to processing the arriving migrants. The Biden administration's plan to control the flow was for migrants to await in another country until they could get an appointment via the CBP One app, with up to 30,000 people per month allowed into the U.S. to pursue asylum applications. Do not just show up at the border. Stay where you are and apply legally from there, President Biden said in January. That's not going to happen, Biden, because with an open border, these people are just going to walk through. This is the reason why Joe Biden is a bloody idiot. Don't not just show up at the border, say where you are, and apply legally from there. Yeah. That's gonna end well, Joe Biden, because when you have an open border, you think these people are gonna care about our politics, they're gonna care about our country. No, they're coming in here to either take over our country or enter illegally. No, they're not coming here legally, because you have the border open, you bloody idiot. I hate this man. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas would also claim a month later, people who arrive at the border without using a lawful pathway will be presumed ineligible for asylum. In practice, that has not been the case, and 78% of all those encountered at the southwest border in October, 180,778 people crossed into the country illegally between points of entry. Most aren't being ejected, with the Department of Homeland Security revealing between May and September they had removed and or returned over 300,000 individuals, which equates to 60,000 people per month. Less than 30% of those who had arrived on the U.S. soil during that time. Those now arriving at the border are not just those who claim to be fleeing persecution and flying regimes in South America. CBP figures show increases in those from arriving from China, India, Russia, and Africa. Yes, I don't know if I actually showed this or talked about this at all. So hopefully I did. If not, let me know and I'll do a report on it. But I may believe there is about thousands of Chinese people trying to leave their own country. Some being officers, which are not supposed to legally be here, and other things as well. So there's all kinds of problems happening in China because people are realizing that the market is not doing well in China, and China is keeping that under wraps. See, if I was saying this in China, I'd probably be killed instantly, besides the other that I'm black, because, Chinese people don't seem to be catered to very much to the black community. But, yeah, it just seems to, be a huge problem here, and we need to close this border. It is absolutely crazy what's happening. One migrant from Morocco, Summit 20, recently versed media outlets how he had given up being an online gamer is in his home country, tried his luck at the southern border in search of work and a better paying job, telling to reporters, "I love you, Joe Biden. Thank you for everything Joe Biden wants in the U.S." He was processed and allowed into the country, then photographed in New York City days later, where said he was looking for work. While authorities can stem the flow of people arriving, increasing every year of Joe Biden's presidency, with the CBP recording 1.9 million border encounters in the fiscal year 2021, 2.8 million in 2022, and 3.2 million in 2023, the immigrant court system isn't a position to effectively handle them either. Well, if we're going to see this increase, because it seems it's increasing around, give or take, 700,000 people to 1 million people a year, give or take. So if that's what's happening here, and we're getting about influx, I'm going to assume by 2024 we're probably going to have around 4.3, maybe even 4.5 million people, and that's probably probably maybe the average. And if it's any more than that, then dear God in heaven, we're going to have an issue, right? Like this is horrible. And the fact that the border is even remotely like it is insanity to me. As of November, the U.S. Immigration Court reached a historic backlog of over 3 million pending cases, according to transactional records assessing clearinghouse. That number has grown by over 1 million cases in a single year. After reaching the milestone of 2 million cases for the first time in 2022, the current backlog equates to around 4,500 cases for every immigration judge in the court system, according to Track. That volume of cases is pushing hearings back by many months, meaning when migrants first enter the country, they are given initial court dates years in advance. So, yeah. In the meantime, the 3 million people waiting their hearings are free to stay and, after 6 months, legally work until they come before a judge. This is precisely what's drawing so many people to the southern border, according to some experts. Yeah, the actual number is 50 million. Yeah, see, worse. This is probably, when was this even posted, in fact? This is December 2023, so yeah. It's insane. I think this is just dealing with, like, the hearings, too. It's insanity, and we're being overrun. I cannot believe that this is... Again, it's astonishing. And this is what happens when we have wide open borders. And when we specifically said this was going to happen. And I find it hilarious because one of my family members is like, oh, I can't believe Joe Biden lied to me about the... what is it? What is it? He lied about the college stuff, right? And I'm like, what do you expect? This is something Joe Biden does on the daily. He lies and doesn't never present anything. So you're an idiot. And again, she proves to be dumb in a lot of respects, but I digress. Earlier this month, Hobbs wrote a letter to Biden requesting support for the National Guard to reopen Lakeville border, which has been closed since December 4th to deal with the migrant surge. 50 million that will need jobs and houses. Those jobs and houses will be yours and mine eventually. Yes, exactly. Because they are going to push out people, citizens, over it. And again, New York is already angry that, even Chicago, are already angry that the illegal migrants are taking jobs from people and housing. They're already angry about this. So, what are we going to do? We have to push these people out of our country. And it's like, they can sign up, they can show up illegally, but what we do is that we kick them out and have them sent back to their country, which is very difficult to do, but due to the laws, we can't. And it's insane. So what we have here, the border crossing at Lakeville remains closed. However, as Hobbs does not have the authority to order it to be opened, in Texas, Governor Abbott signed a bill into effect Monday, giving police officers in the state power to arrest anybody caught entering the country illegally. The president's deliberate inaction at the border left Texas to fend for itself, he said of the action. People arrested under the law will be allowed to choose whether to leave the country under a judge's orders or face prosecution, jail time, and fines up to $2,000. Repeat offenders will face felony charges. Honestly, I think it should be more than $2,000, but that's just me. But these people don't seem to have a lot of money to begin with. The source of our discontent lies in Washington, D.C. Adams reporters, we need to mobilize and rally a go-to D.C. and say to the national government, this is not fair, what is happening to New York City. Adams has gone to Washington himself 10 times to ask the Biden administration for aid in the migrant crisis, which has been seen over 150,000 people pass through NYC since the start of the crisis, with a price tag expected to reach $12 billion. Yeah, and here's the thing. When Mayor Adams decided, oh, well, this is an issue, this is a huge problem, the great overlord dictator Biden goes on to say, oh, well, I'm going to start sending the FBI after you. You're going to get your house raided and all this other stuff. And they've been going after him ever since then. Kind of interesting on how Biden is, being really a huge dictator. So we have this. As well, new census data shows migration could cost Democrat majority states numerous congressional seats. The expansion of the South accounted for 87% with U.S. growth this year, as the region added more than 1.4 million residents, bringing the total population to 130 million, according to December 19th news release from the Census Bureau. Domestic migration for the large population growth as the South is the only region to have maintained growth throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, census officials stated. Largely driven by selective lockdown measures, along with mask and vaccine mandates, Americans fled Democrat-run cities over the past 3 years. According to census data, 4 Republican-led states welcomed the most transplants from blue states, 4 southern states, Texas, Florida, North Carolina, and Georgia, accounted for 93% of U.S. population growth in 2022, and 67% of population growth this year, census data shows. Other states with Republicans in control also saw gains. Given that apportionment for congressional seats in the U.S. House is based on population, experts say how those states could gain congressional representation after the 2030 census is taken. Projections from the Branding Center for the Justice show that California could lose 4 seats in reportment, only the second time in its history to have lost representations. New York could lose 3 seats, and Illinois could lose 2 seats. Both based on the recent trends, according to Branding Center, Texas could gain 4 seats, Florida 3 seats, while 7 right-leaning states could each gain a seat: Arizona, Georgia, Idaho, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Utah. Migration between states over time can have significant impact on how much influence each state has in the House. This is what's happening. And California has already lost a seat, guys. The Californians already lost a seat. So I'm not surprised by this. If the Democrats are going to keep on doing this type of stuff, yes, more people are going to leave. More people will leave. And we will see this throughout days' time. And God forbid, honestly, I think our country's doomed if we get another Democrat presidency in line, right? I think this country's doomed. I think we are losing all of our rights. We're going to have a huge, huge problem if another Democrat gets into place. Honestly, that's the way I believe it. I don't know about you guys, but I think we're doomed if another Democrat gets into place. But if we get a Republican that's not a complete lunatic, which is probably Vivek Ramaswamy or Donald Trump, we might be able to see some bright see of the future. There's that. Trump repeats anti-immigrant tirade, denies reading Hitler and all that stuff. So, yeah, Trump, if he keeps on doing with the anti-immigrant stuff and all this stuff, I think he's even going to be higher because we've seen that Chicago and New York are not very happy about this. So, all that great stuff. Now, guys, friends, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you all are ready for the big nail biter, the great funny story or disturbing story of this channel, which will be the last story I'll be going over, is the Twitch fiasco, right? The great Twitch fiasco that is happening there, to where kids are being able to see the great old naked people of the fat. All this stuff, right? We're gonna go over this. Twitch CEO reveals plan for artistic nudity to return in bizarre VR chat interview. Twitch has been in a bizarre spot over the past few weeks as Meta's rapidly shift on the platform, and CEO Dan Clancy took to VR chat dressed as Gandalf the White to answer some hard-hitting questions about the platform. Ultimately, he revealed he wants artistic nudity to return to Twitch once they have the infrastructure to support it. As a platform, Twitch's evolution has often brought out new genres of streaming that have really pushed the medium forward. IRL streams are standard now, but non-gaming streams used to be ban-worthy on Twitch. Twitch seems to want to embrace something that was previously ban-worthy once again by allowing artistic nudity and other explicit forms of content on the platform. And though they had to roll back the recent TOS changes, Clancy has to give it up on this type of content. To answer some questions on the recent meta developments around explicit content, Twitch CEO Dan Clancy donned a Gandalf the White avatar and spoke with VR Chat and GTA RP streamer Raffle Gator about recent times on the platform. And while he was sad about the way rolling out artistic nudity went, he's got plans to potentially bring it back once Twitch can better support that kind of content. Twitch CEO Gandalf explains why artistic nudity was rolled back. The setting of this interview was certainly a bit unorthodox, though it's worth mentioning the community on a game like VRChat is massive. Not only that, but communities within VRChat that stream on Twitch are heavily affected by artistic nudity policies due to some character models that leave a bit less to the imagination. Clancy took some of the questions about this platform head on and revealed that artistic nudity had been rolled back largely because their platform didn't have the infrastructure to support it, and not because of any of the streamers were doing anything wrong. Now, here's one thing I want to talk about the VR chat thing, right? It's going to be hard to say, but VR chat is filled with a whole bunch of kids being under the age of 18. And it's mostly a child type stuff. So it makes me wonder why this old guy, is on VR chat. It's really concerning, right? I mean, I don't ever go on VR chat. Ever. I don't ever want to witness it. I don't ever want to do it. It's full of children. And, yeah, I avoid it. And the only time I would go onto Twitch is to watch some League of Legends stuff of mine that I enjoy and not anything else. Because, obviously, anything else is catered to softcore porn. Initially, we were doing it because there were a lot of artists that expressed the desire to use the human form as a part of their artistic expression. Classic explained, however, he felt as if this overran the art category. That with different infrastructure, Twitch could create a way to filter out streams with more adult-oriented content. Classic aims to lay down that infrastructure. In a perfect world, we could blur thumbnails and user could say, I'm not interested in seeing sexually themed content. So then they could click the checkmark and suddenly they have to go to the art section and anything labeled sexually themed they don't see. So now they can have the experience they want. In general, this would be a good for the site. We just don't have that yet, Clancy explained. It's something we will build, but engineering takes time, so we needed to roll back the change. Not because we necessarily find that all of the stuff is wrong or something like that. It's just our product doesn't work well to handle it. By the way, we already have this problem if you look at the MSR category. He pointed out that the MSR category has devolved into sexually oriented content, and that finding ways to moderate stuff like that is a priority as well. So before Twitch can bring back artistic nudity, they have to recreate infrastructure to support it. But Clancy also feels that there's nothing wrong with content of this nature, as long as the users have a way to filter out if they don't want to see it. Clancy was also adamant that they were trying to bring onto the platform has to remain artistic in nature, and that things like lap dances that get into what he terms simulated sexual activity are too far, even for erotic dance could be considered an art form. Well, here's the thing, Mr. Clancy, is that is not the fact that adults want to see it, and that's not really the problem. I mean, that is some of the problem too. People just don't want to see it. But here's another thing: it's the kids. It's the kids, right? Because the kids are going to see it, and that's pretty much the biggest problem that we have. If you want to make Twitch a porn site, by all means, make it a porn site, but put in things that would, again, maybe not allow kids to have access to it. That might be a good idea, case in point. The interview arrived as a Rafflegator showed Dan Clancy and what VR chat was all about. Once of Rafflegator's friends grabbed a dancer to perform for him and all that stuff. It's just, this is all just crazy stuff, right? So, we have this, and parents are not happy, right? Parents are not happy about any of this. Soft porn on Twitch, parents fury as OnlyFans models pose naked on video streaming site used by millions of kids. Yes, because it's mostly a kid's website. So, we have this. Streaming platform has been accused of making softcore pornography accessible to children, and amid a boom in female streamers exploiting a loophole in its terms of service to broadcast sexually sensitive videos on the platform. The Amazon-owned site, which has a minimum user age of 13, was created to share footage of video games, but a recent trend has seen users stream implied nudity while linking to their adult content on the sites of OnlyFans. Earlier this month, yes, Twitch will just become OnlyFans-like. Exactly. I believe that's what it's going to become. Earlier this month, adult performer Morg Pie stoked outrage by appearing to be completely naked on a live stream, jiggling her hoo-ha's, and when users purchased a $45 per month subscription, of which she would receive a 50% cut. I don't know why they did percent like that. That's weird. In response, Twitch updated its adult content policy, explicitly permitting content that deliberately highlighted breasts, buttocks, or the pelvic region, as long as it was marked as sexual content. What has prompted a surge in similar streams. There are concerns among parents and Twitch users that the site is enabling access to what essentially amounts to adult content without any age gates. One told a Mail Online they felt the videos pervading the site amounted to softcore porn, which I agree, it is softcore porn, and there's no way to get through this. So yeah, this stuff is happening here. All this stuff is happening here. Look at this. This is just ridiculous, man. They said that these streams are even regularly promoted on Twitch's homepage. Twitch staff don't care because they are making a cut of all the money they donate to these women. The most they'll ever do is hand out a short 3-day ban before letting the women get away with the exact same thing again. Morpie was banned after her first stream returning the app after the rules were changed. She has since been banned again after appearing alongside 2 other female streamers in a further state of implied nudity. Twitch's revised policy on sexual content still bans nudity, inappropriate attire, and pornography, but permits the likes of strip teases and nude body painting, as well as sexually provocative conversations so long as nipples and genitalia are covered. The relaxed rules also initially permitted artistic nudity before rolling that back. Streams containing sexual content will not be promoted on its homepage, but a flood of sexualized streams can be found in a matter of clicks by browsing the website's IRL section, which covers non-gaming content, including a dedicated hot tub category. These range of yoga videos where streamers in skin-tight fitness apparel pose in a manner that emphasizes their breasts and buttocks to implied nudity piloted by the likes of Morpie. Twitch claims to have 35 million daily visitors on average, and of those, 70% are between the ages of 18 and 34. It does not disclose how many users are under 18, but states in terms of service that children may only use Twitch under the supervision of a parent or legal guardian, which doesn't matter because kids can still just sign up regardless on 13. So that means kids can still do the deeds at the age of 13, because what's going to stop kids from doing this type of stuff? Again, Twitch endorsing child pornography. Good on you, I guess. Great. In one broadcast, streamer Jayla Chavez successfully held a towel over herself and encouraged users to entice her to drop it in her challenge chat box. And they called her a jumping countdown was displayed on screen. Drop it or else I'm leaving, said one. So yes, this just seems to be debauchery on all this. Twitch TOS PSA for parents. PG-13 is not what Twitch is really about. It is more geared towards adults. Why? Because adults spend money, which is what Twitch, a business, really cares about. And this is the type of stuff that Twitch is going to become, right? All this stuff. Yeah. It is just a form of just complete and utter nudity. All this stuff is what's going on here. Where this is disgusting. You can't even do this stuff on YouTube at all. And these people are obviously taking advantage of all this stuff as well. So yeah. Twitch is what we call as you would say at Coltrane, OnlyFans Lite. And it may just become another version of a campsite. So we'll see on how everything goes here. I got a feeling in 2024 it's going to be interesting for Twitch, because if parents are already raging about it and what's going on here, then I got a feeling that Twitch is not going to have a very good thing when the FCC and other people start coming after them for hosting child pornography. But I digress. It's all a matter of time. Alright guys, that's it. I gotta get going. I got stuff to do today. Glad that you joined Coltrane. I'll be trying to do more of this as well. I don't know too much about the what I'll be doing for in terms of guest appearances. I want to bring back Codecast and all that stuff. So I'll see what I can do on that front. But yeah, it's getting crazy out here. But hopefully everybody's gonna have a great 2024. As I mentioned before anybody joined, I won't be doing the transgender type thing or whatever this week. I'll be pushing that next week. I'm still need to get in contact with Epic about that stuff, and maybe if I can see I can get a guest. I don't think I was able to get all that stuff. But